Good morning, everyone. Well, it's Wednesday. We are now 3 days into our first week of home learning, and you guys are doing great. I'm really proud of you all. The Monday work was really good for science. I've seen some nice pieces of art that are being finished, and your diagrams of the digestive system were excellent. So thank you all so much for working so hard on those. If you haven't submitted it, I will be asking very soon that you make sure that's done. Remember, keeping up on top of this is the easiest way to do it. Don't let it all pile up. You only really have 24 hours after it's submitted to get it back to me. So if it's more than 48 hours, I will be contacting you and asking you why it's not done. If you're ill, that's okay. Don't worry. Just throw me an email, tell me you're ill. It's the same as school, and you can catch up later. So, what's the plan for today? Well, we've looked at the digestive system, and you guys did a great job with that. We learned how when we eat things, our bodies take the food, process it in different areas, in different ways, and that was really cool. Now we're going to look at another process in our bodies, another life process. Breathing, the respiratory system. How do we breathe? How do our lungs work? What do we breathe in? What do we breathe out? All of these things. Now you guys probably already know what we breathe in, and that's oxygen. And what we breathe out is carbon dioxide. We learned that earlier in the year in life processes, and that's, something that we all do. Plants also respire, but they breathe in carbon dioxide. We breathe in oxygen. They breathe out oxygen. So, we need plants. Anyhow, we are going to be looking today at another great page from DK Kids. It's a great website. I really like it. Their diagrams are very scientific. They're very accurate, very detailed. But let's have a look here. It says lungs and breathing, and we'll just scroll down a little bit. The cells in your body can't survive without a continual supply of oxygen from the air. Oxygen is what we breathe in. Obviously, the air around us has a mix of different gases. It's not pure oxygen, but a large percentage of what we breathe in is oxygen. Your lungs take in air with every breath, bringing oxygen into your blood to be carried around your body. Without oxygen, your cells would die in a matter of seconds. As well as keeping you alive, your respiratory system helps you communicate by talking and is also responsible for hiccups, coughs, and sneezes. Now, the respiratory system is also a big part of the coronavirus. It's a big reason why we're off and we're staying out of public spaces at the minute, is because, if we're coughing, if we're sneezing, that can really send out these germs, and we don't want to get ill. But it's good to know how our respiratory system works so that we can get a better understanding of how we can protect ourselves and how we can protect others. So obviously, just like with the digestive system, starts at our mouth, but it's a different tube. It is not when we breathe, the air that we breathe doesn't go into our esophagus, it doesn't go into our stomach. It goes down our windpipe. If you ever drunk some water and then you felt the water go into the wrong pipe and you cough and you splutter, it's probably because a little bit of that water went into your windpipe and your body's like, water can't go in there, let's get it out. So it uses coughing to force that water out so that it doesn't get into your lungs, because that would be really bad for you. The lungs are very delicate. They're full of little sacs that take in the air and transfer it into the bloodstream. They're called the alveoli, and if they're damaged or if they get water in them, it's really bad for us. So remember that even though they both start at the mouth, at the nose, food goes down a separate pipe to where we breathe, which is our windpipe. Something that's not really shown here, but is here, is the voice box. It mentions in the text that we need to breathe to communicate. It's very important that as we're breathing, that we take breaths in through our nose, and you can breathe in through your mouth, but the cool thing about the nose is, especially for me, you've probably noticed, we have hairs in our nose. I have lots of hairs in my nose, which is kind of gross, but they're really useful for catching and collecting dirt that's in the air and actually stopping it getting into our lungs. If we breathe in through our mouth, there's not as much of a protection system. Our nose is full of mucus, it's full of hairs, it's full of lots of things to stop anything that shouldn't get to our lungs getting there. We can breathe out through our mouth, but we should be breathing in through our nose. The voice box also requires us to be breathing. If we weren't breathing, it'd be quite difficult. I can't imagine speaking without breathing. It's always funny as well. I always think, we breathe all day long. We don't even think about it. But then if I say like, oh, you're breathing now, then you'll start to think about it. And then you'll go, I'm breathing. Okay, I have to breathe. And then, yeah, that's funny, huh? We do so many things without even thinking about it. Okay, so as we breathe in, the oxygen goes up through our nose, into our windpipe, down into our lungs, and gets into our airways, and then eventually gets into the alveoli. This is the diaphragm. Diaphragm is really important because it's a sheet of muscle under our lungs. Singers especially need diaphragm control because, well, it's basically what draws the air into our bodies. When we breathe, we're moving our diaphragm. It's not actually our lungs that are we're not controlling our lungs to expand and shrink, but rather we're moving our diaphragm down to create a vacuum that draws air into our lungs. So yes, cool, huh? Our lungs are really amazing. Says here, and if you didn't know, you can click on these. You can get more information by clicking on. It says these are two sponge-like substances that fill your chest. They have a really massive surface area inside because they have lots of these little alveoli, and they need lots of surface area to absorb as much oxygen as possible because obviously our bodies need it. So, sorry, my ear gets a little bit itchy under these headphones, but they are better than my microphone on my computer. So, our heart also sits just behind our lungs. Our heart is here because as oxygen is brought in, it needs to be sent around our body through our blood, and obviously the heart is constantly pumping blood around our body. So it's also a really important part of the whole system. What I would like you to do today is I would like you to draw this system as accurately as possible, making sure that you label the nose, mouth, windpipe, rib cage, airways, heart, lungs, and diaphragm. Remember, diagrams are meant to be accurate. They're meant to be as accurate as you can make them. So make sure that the windpipe here is, nice, and you can see that it has space for the air to come down. Don't just draw a single line. Make sure the windpipe comes up and connects to the mouth and the nose, that it doesn't just stop here. You can't really see here because of the heart, but there's a split where the windpipe comes down. There's a split where it splits into both lungs. If you want to draw that, you can draw the heart. You don't need to draw all these veins in here. I don't mind if you don't draw all of those. But I do want you to draw the diaphragm, and yeah, as much detail as possible. If you could color it, that would be awesome, just because I think diagrams look even better when they're colored. But if you don't have time, that is not the most important part of the work. Very quickly, the rib cage. We can all feel our rib cage. It's here. It goes down to about halfway down our chest, and that is to protect really are vital organs. It says the rib cage forms a protective case around our lungs, around our heart, and it's super important. If we didn't have the rib cage, you know, and something hit us in the chest, it could really affect our lungs, it could really affect our heart. So we're lucky we have a rib cage. If you get a broken rib cage, it can be very serious. So yeah, you need to go to the hospital for that. If you are finished with your diagram and you've uploaded it, you can do this quiz about lungs and breathing. Some questions might be tricky, some questions you might not know, but that's the fun thing with it. It's not graded. Have a go, learn something new, and yeah, have a good time. I hope you're all enjoying home learning. If you need any help, please contact me. If you're having a good time, leave a thumbs up on this video. I know it's a bit weird to be at home all the time. Try to do a little bit of exercise in your house, get your lungs moving, keep breathing, and stay healthy. Remember, please submit your work on time. Have a good time at home. Do all of your work and stay safe. Oh, and wash your hands. Bye, guys.